to be present, you can't be in someone's face every day. I mean, I think that you really have to have a reason to go and walk your spaces, because you want to spend 20 minutes or however long, you know, you don't want to take people off their work, but you want to let them know that you're walking around. And when it's funny, because I know when I walk in on certain floors, because we're in one building in DC, other buildings, but the main body force is in one building at 4 different suites, that when I walk in the front door, you see that, Cindy's here, and I can just see what happens. They walk down the hallway, Cindy's here, and but I'll make the rounds, and you sit with people, and you ask about their families and what they're doing on the weekends, and then you get into what are you working on, because most of them have 3 screens in front of them. They're all engineer types, and so to go to California and work on your business, and also kind of a little rejuvenation of self-perspective and taking care of Cindy, is the red-eye flights, which I like to, I either read my People magazine, or I'm catching up for 5 weeks, or I'm working on papers that I don't have time to read that I'm going to be presenting to my senior leadership team. And then when I'm in the office, so sometimes it might be a 50-50 on different coasts. Right now it's about 75-85% of my time here, because we are going through a lot of transition right now. Really great transition. But transition is change, and you want people to feel comfortable. So it's all about the conversations and the communicating. So the visible is, I hate being in my office and working on stuff. I was math, I'm not a writer. I hate reviewing things. I like the conversations. So it's about the visibility is walking in my spaces and getting at a certain level. I remember one employee said, "Oh my gosh, Cindy, I love that when you come and talk to me, that you bend down or you sit in a chair and you're here." That's just me. You know, I like connecting with people, and so I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, the question is about, so when Cindy first came in to CSSI, she saw her role as coming in and getting out. So what happened that made that change happen for her and the decision to stay and lead the company?
And that's, I'm glad you asked, because when you asked, is there something that you didn't talk about you want to, is I really had to define, I had to have fun. And if I wasn't having fun, it was all over. I wear my emotions here. And so there were a couple significant events. One was the Smart CEO interview that I did after 17 years, or it was 16 years. So last year, I was on the cover, and I was just talking candidly with the person interviewing me. And then the magazine came out. The cover says she came to close her father's business and stayed to grow it to $40 million or $30 million, whatever it said. And I'm like, oh my God, people are going to know I wanted to leave. And someone says, it's been 17 years, Cindy. They think you're going to be here. But what it looked like was that I think I reached a point of 7 years, I call it my 7-year itch, of I did what was expected of me. I lived by doing the right thing. Maybe it was out of guilt and obligation, and maybe even for my father, because in some way I wanted to make my father proud. And I didn't have that validation until somebody who knew him would tell me so. So I just had to seek it in my own ways. What would he have done? Would I, and constantly questioning, which was a terrible place to be inside. It didn't show because it always looked like a smile on the outside. When someone upset me, it looked like a smile. Okay, I'm taking note of that one. Well, remember, strike 3, you're out. And
baseball again.
Yeah. I do have a lot of strike 3s that aren't there anymore. But what it looked like was when I knew I was too comfortable and I was kind of procrastinating on things, that I wasn't raising the bar. I was doing somebody else's job. And so I joined things like executive roundtables of other business owners outside my business, just business perspective. I had an executive coach that I worked with. Well, I may have worked for her because she made me cry every time I got together with her. It's like, you want me to do those hard things, like grow. And but you have to get perspective. So I really had to change my job over time. I enjoyed being the president once I got comfortable because I was in charge. I was in control. I got to do some fun things that people were like, gosh, this is a fun company. But then it got to a point where I didn't want to do the performance evals anymore and the operations and the budgets, even though I want to monitor and see how they're going. So I had to raise the bar on what defined fun for me. And I actually had to be honest with my leadership team and say, this is my job. I only want to do this. I don't want to do this anymore. And have them trust and respect that I wasn't leaving if I was still doing this. It's someone stepping up. So I actually let go, and that is delegation, which is tough for control freaks. And so I delegated. I was honest. We had some really good conversations with my leadership team, and I got to do things like the networking and serve on boards and be the ambassador of the company, which I'm better at. I'm better not sitting in front of a computer. I'm better at the relationship development, the extension of the company. And even though I still have those shyness and that insecurity and that introvert person, once I'm out and about, I enjoy that. So you really have to change your role and be honest with yourself, what allows you to have fun.
So I want to recap that. We always like to capture for our audience the nuggets of wisdom that we gain from people we have the opportunity to speak with. Number one was that you delegated and you let go, which I think permits growth.
Yes.
And I have a lot of colleagues we've talked to, is that when they take those things, which are routine things that aren't bringing you, they aren't enriching your life, they aren't enriching the company, you let those go. The other thing is that you sought resources to improve your skill set as a leader. So you didn't just sit there and say, this is the box I'm in. You, number one, you joined executive roundtables. You got in a place where you got to meet and talk to with other leaders who are facing compelling challenges. And then the other thing was you brought in coaches, which I think is brilliant. I think that is a strategy we need to do. Bring in the experts to help you see. And I don't know if they should all make you cry. I've had them make me cry. And I do the same thing. I mean, and I think that those are key things. So if you're looking out there and you're watching this for some day and you were compelled to see this, you need to follow this type of advice and it'll help you excel your career. Yeah. We're going to have one more question before we wrap up. Who wants to ask the last question? Yes, ma'am.
So what would you say your challenges are today as you're looking forward?
So what's your challenge today as you look forward? That's a great place to wrap up today.
Today is to me motivating your employees, because I think some people are comfortable in their positions. It's easy. They're not found out. They're excelling at it. At some point, they're going backwards. But it's constantly motivating. But it's about having people understand the why we're doing it. So if you have your vision and people don't believe in that, it's the impact. Having them understand the impact of not doing so. This is what it's going to mean, that we're only going to go backwards, we're only going to lose employees, we're only going to lose customers eventually. So it's that communication, having people understand the whys, having them buy into it. And at the end of the day, they're either going to do it or not, and you got to continue moving on. So I believe that the challenge is some of the folks on board today may not be there in 5 years. But I certainly guarantee that people that aren't there today, we're going to continue bringing in talent and adding to that. So it's hard because they're not well-liked decisions. But it's for the future of the company, and I owe it to the company. So I think that's my challenge today.
Cindy, I can't thank you enough.
You're
Was
welcome.
it that bad?
Whew!
You did it. You survived. I thought I was going to have to interview her under the table.
I was hoping for the ABC question so I could at least.
It's not bad.
It was fun.
And
I had a great time.
You shared incredible wisdom with us.
Thank
Your
you
story is
for asking.
fascinating. You are fabulous.
Thank you.
And I think all of us that are striving to be the best leaders we can have been inspired and learned a great deal from you.
Thank you, Cynthia,
You're wonderful.
very much.
Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. We would welcome your evaluation. We have some information for you here in upcoming events, and thank you. And we will be back next month and sending out announcements soon about I haven't confirmed them yet, which is why I'm not saying who it is. So, but it should be exciting. So thank you very much. We appreciate it.